Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking all about my first ever experience at the BUCS Sprint Triathlon Championships. Yes, although I am in the midst of some incredibly heavy training at the moment, I thought better to get a race done before one of my A races, being Outlaw Nottingham Half, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. So I entered myself into the British University's Sprint Triathlon Championship, and it was an amazing experience. I'm going to break down exactly what the race is, why I decided to do it, and how the race went. For those of you not living in the UK, you might not be familiar with what BUCS is, but BUCS is the British University and Colleges Sports League. It's essentially the league that all of the universities do for pretty much all of the sports that we play in university, triathlon being one of those. And I took this opportunity to go and do the Sprint Distance Championship, which was a 400 meter pool swim, a 22k bike and a 5k run. Although this is definitely out of my wheelhouse, being a middle distance athlete, I thought it was a really good opportunity to get an early and competitive race in. Considering it's been about 5 or 6 months since my last triathlon, I really wanted to do this so I could shake off any cobwebs, remember how transition goes, and really highlight any last minute areas of improvement, especially on the technical side, that I might need to do before one of my most important races of the year, being Outlaw Nottingham Half. And even though I've been at university for the past 6 years, I haven't actually done this race before, mainly because I've only been into triathlon for the last few years, and unfortunately my university doesn't strictly have a affiliated triathlon club, although there are a group of us who do triathlon from the university. So that small group of 7 Barts and London students travelled to the Cotswolds just near Tetbury to do the BUCS Sprint Triathlon Championships. And this is an incredibly competitive race. To put it in perspective, the women's winner was Cassandra Beaugrand, who is an incredible previous Olympian, and she absolutely blew the women's field out of the water. So the men's field was just as equally stacked. So it's quite a competitive race, and it really highlighted a lot of the areas that I still need to improve at. So let's get down and actually talk about how the race went for myself, starting off with the swim. Now, this is a 400 meter pool swim, and as soon as I got into the pool, I was kind of a bit apprehensive at how it was going to go, because the pool was incredibly warm. I was just like sweating just standing in the pool waiting to start, and I wasn't quite in the right mental headspace to absolutely start hammering that swim as I wanted to. Saying that, I felt okay in the water for the first 100, but after that first 100, I messed up a tumble turn. I took a massive mouthful of really warm water, and it just put me off my game. So my second kind of 100 was not as good, and then it took me that 100 to kind of like refine my flow again. Overall, I'm not too disappointed with the swim. Unfortunately, because of the way the timing mats were laid out, we don't actually have a swim time strictly. We have a swim, and then because it was quite a long transition, we had an opportunity to put some running shoes on, because the distance from the pool to where our bikes were racked in T1 was, according to them, 550 meters, although it definitely felt longer than that having just finished swimming. But I did the swim and putting my shoes on, which I struggled with incredibly, in 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So let's take off 20 to 30 seconds. That was a low 5 minute 10, 5 minute 20 swim, which I'm really pleased with. I just wish it could have been a bit better, because I managed to swim a 5:10. That's wall to wall at the Basildon Aquathlon, which I came 3rd at. So I was hoping for a little bit more improvement there, but nevertheless, we take those. The swim could have been a lot worse. I took a very long time running to transition, and I took a long time putting my shoes on in transition, which is something I definitely need to think about. Although it plays a much smaller role in a half Ironman, it's definitely something that I need to think about. Out onto the cycle, and I was feeling pretty good and pretty positive to start with, because I was racing on my new Felt IA. This is my new TT bike for this year, my first ever TT bike. Picked this up secondhand, and I am over the moon with it. It's an absolute speed machine, but I wasn't quite able to show how much potential both my legs and this new bike has. I'd only picked up the bike about 4 days before the race, and I hadn't fully been able to make the position as comfortable as I would have liked. So in this race, I was tucked in the aero bars for about 2 or 3 minutes. That's all I could manage because I had so much tightness and pain over the fronts of my shoulders, and then I was back up into the base bar for about the same time. Now, I could try and stay relatively aero while in the base bar, but there's only so much you can do. And this was a big disappointment because I'd really hoped to hammer that bike component and really make up some time, which I knew that I was going to lose compared to some of the other runners in the field. I still did a pretty decent bike time, averaging 36 kilometers per hour, but I'd really hoped to take that much closer to 40 kilometers per hour over this shorter distance. And I really do think that is possible. I just need to work on that aero position and putting out power in that aero position. So unfortunately, the bike, a bit of a wash. I really didn't show my potential in there either. And again, T2, I spent far too long trying to get my shoes on. I'm gonna have to either take the elastic laces out of my Alpha Flies or lengthen them or something. I'm not quite sure, but it was really tricky to get my feet in there. I'm giving up time there for no reason. And once I sort that out, I'll be much faster without having to get fitter. So it's those kind of things that this first triathlon of the year has really highlighted to me, having not raced in a little bit. But finally onto the run, and honestly, I'm not that dissatisfied with my run. I managed to run just under 21 minutes for the 5K, and that sounds quite slow, and admittedly it is. However, the fastest runs were in the high 16s, low 17 minutes, because the course had lots of, it was a 3-lap course, it had lots of tight turns, and about half of each lap was on grass. And personally, I don't find my Alpha Flies to be that good over grass, although thank God I had them for the pavement sections because they really helped. But I know some amazing runners who were there and they still were running in 17 minutes rather than, you know, 15 high, 16 low. So I think there was at least a minute or two added to everyone's time just because of the difficulty of the course. And with running not being my strongest and me being in a massive run block at the moment, I'm not too dissatisfied with this performance, although of course, I would like more out of myself. And so overall, I came 102nd, just missing out on that top 100, which should have been really nice. But I've learned so much from this experience, and it was great fun, especially to be racing with other people from my university, which is something that I've never had the opportunity to do in this situation while representing the university. And hopefully, although I won't be here next year, it's something that we can continue to do and I can continue to support as an alumnus. To summarize my main learnings from this event, I really need to make sure that I'm in a good mental headspace at the start and nice and warm and ready to go. I need to fix my bike position, which is something that I've definitely been working on since the race, and I'll be putting out a new video all about my bike, talking you through it and looking at my new position. So hit subscribe if you want to see that video. And then on the run, I know I need to keep working on it. It's something that I've put a massive amount of work, and I'm feeling more confident with every single run workout I do. Oh, and I need to fix my really slow transitions, even though they're a little less important over a half Ironman distance. To round out this video, I want to say a massive thank you to all the people from Barcelona that came along to race on that day, especially to Liam Van Dam, who organised the race and made sure that we all got there on time with race entry. So thank you so much for that, Liam. And a massive thank you to Danny, who came along to support all of us and who took pretty much most of the photos and videos of me in this video. There are still 2 more weeks now until Outlaw Nottingham Half, and I'm still training like an absolute machine. So hit subscribe if you want to see how my training goes and how I perform in half Ironman event of the year, or if you just like general triathlon training content. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and share with a friend if you haven't, because that all really helps out the channel. And until the next one, I'll see you then.